days ago, I stumbled upon this ad of a 1998 Saab 900 commemorative edition that is for sale in the US for nearly $20,000. And at first glance, you're like, there's no way this is worth $20,000. But actually, I'm going to try and make an argument as to why it is worth $20,000. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I am in no way promoting this ad or anything. I just happened to see this. I thought it was interesting and cool, so I figured I'd share it with you guys. So here's the ad. I'll put a link to it in the description, assuming it's still up when this video is uploaded if you guys do want to check it out. But it is a 1998 Saab 900 commemorative edition, like I said. So just glancing through the pictures here real quick, let's make this full screen. You can tell that the car is in very, very nice condition. Now that alone does not make it worth $20,000, obviously, because a normal Saab 900 of this age with average miles in this condition would probably go for a fourth of what this guy's asking. But as you can see, commemorative edition, so it is a limited edition. Now to tell you a little bit more about the commemorative edition, according to the ad, it says that there are 3,000 manufactured, 288 of those were exported to the US in 1998. And only 3 of those are automatics. Now this one is one of those automatics, so that right there is one of the things that really helps the value of this car. Now granted, if you are an enthusiast, like I personally would not want an automatic 30-year-old car, because the automatics in these cars are really slow. The fact that there's only 3 of them is really what makes this more valuable. And another thing that really helps the value is the mileage right here. 29,000 miles on it. 4-cylinder automatic, obviously, front-wheel drive convertible, but less than 30,000 miles on a 30-year-old car. So you can tell this is obviously a car that was very rarely driven, garage kept its entire life. And if you scroll down here to the ad once again, he does say that he bought it back in 2006 and that's been garaged and covered since he bought it and has been driven about 16,000 miles. So buffalo gray interior, wood trim added by the dealer in 1988. Now I'm not sure if this wood paneling right here is part of the commemorative edition or what's called the SIS or Springtime in Sweden. I'm not sure if that's limited, like a limited edition wood thing that they only put in these cars. Again, less than 300 of these in the US, only 3 of those were automatic. So this is a car automatically just by looking at those numbers. This is something that you would think would be in a museum just because of its rarity. Now I'm sure that the other 2 automatics are also in similar condition. Hopefully they're in this good a condition. And I do think that these cars can fetch this value because of the rarity, and especially this one because of the low mileage and the pristine condition it's in. So it looks like it's also got some different wheels on it, which are probably part of the commemorative edition. As you can see, very, very nice shape. 29,000, that's just absurd. You know, I was reading the other day, one way to really tell if a car was well taken care of is by looking at the driver's seat. If the driver's seat is worn, then you can tell that they were careless about getting in and out of the car. They didn't really care that the seat was getting worn. As you can see, this one is pretty much perfect. I mean, you can kind of just compare it to the passenger seat. But you can tell that this, I mean, it does look like it's almost brand new, to be completely honest. But if it has been in California its entire life, then there is a very good chance that it would have no rust. A lot of West Coast cars and drier climates, you don't really have to worry about rust, especially out here in Arizona. So the only thing that isn't really stock on this is this Alpine radio. Let me see if I can find a good picture of it right there. He said that this was installed in 2012, and personally, I've never really been a fan of these in older cars. It just doesn't fit in. I don't really like the look of it, but of course it is something more modern for someone who wants that. But I personally don't think that that helps the value at all. It might even hurt it a little bit. Personally, would I pay $20,000 for this? No, because I do not want an automatic Saab 900. I do not want an automatic car. But to someone who doesn't necessarily care about the transmission, or someone who wants something that's very collectible, because this is a very, very collectible car. So if the transmission doesn't really matter for you, or if you would potentially buy this as an investment, it's definitely worth that money, I think. A lot of these super old Saabs, not like a 30-year-old 900 like this, but older ones than that, a lot of them are starting to go up in value. Some of the ones like this that are lower miles, really nice condition, stuff like that, they're starting to go up in value. So I do think that, especially considering that this too is a limited edition model, I do think that it does have potential to further raise in value. Now, when that'll happen, I personally have no idea, but I do think that there is potential that that could happen. Now, to someone who's not a Saab enthusiast, they would laugh at this ad and say, I wouldn't even pay $2,000 for that car. And that's very fair to say, but to a Saab enthusiast who appreciates these classic 900s, especially one with this low of miles and in this good a condition, and on top of that, the rarity of the car, I think you can definitely justify that price. So the seller here is appealing to a very, very, very limited audience, but that very, very, very limited audience will appreciate this car, and I think they will be willing to pay not necessarily 20 grand, but maybe 15 or a little bit more or less than that. This is definitely something that would be highly collectible. Again, the everyday person just sees this as a normal Saab. A lot of people think that Saabs are garbage to begin with, which obviously is highly untrue. But a lot of people would not even click on this ad in the first place, even if they didn't know that they were asking 20 grand. At this point, I feel as though I've made my case as to why I do think that this is a reasonable asking price. Usually when you do post a car for sale, if you're looking to get like $2,000 for your car, you don't post it at $2,000. You post it at like $3,000, assuming that there's room to negotiate. So this guy is probably not expecting to get $19,800 for it. So I can justify someone reasonably paying like $15,000 for this. I can definitely justify that given everything that I've said. Let me know if you guys agree with me down below in the comments. Again, if you do want to look at this ad, and if for some reason you're interested in buying this, I will put a link to the ad in the description as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you all next video.